Hello everybody, we're back with Daniel and there's a bit of feedback there. Daniel, who's now starting his first video book club of Sun and Moon. So far we've got Patricia, Daniel, Series, Frankie and Dee, and we should be waiting for a few more to join. Now carry on then, because we're a moment, but carry on what you were just talking about. And take my mic camera off. Go on then, Series. Mark, you were talking about Mark Sargent.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
And be one of the speakers. So in a sense, the evening went really well.
Yeah.
We've got Mark Sargent coming to our UK Flat Earth Convention. Isn't that great?
That's awesome, yeah.
So yeah, it just opened up other things. So he's going to be busy with us. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be busy with us. Alan's here as well. Cool. Hello, Alan.
Hello. Hello, Alan.
Right, Daniel, would you just give, because obviously you said that just before we went online. Will you explain what you saw in the video that you've given everyone, and then we can talk about it?
Okay, yeah. The video of Morgan, he had two videos, an update of the same video. he's explaining in a gruesome way the relationship between the moon and the earth, between the seasons and the moon, and between every other observation we see, you know. And he's saying that the mathematics don't match, you know. I know it was a hard video to watch, and I think it can be more easily explained, but for me, the conclusion is that, again, it's the same two-body problem of physics, you know, where it doesn't match reality. And this is another connection to it. It's another point where we see the mathematics don't match reality. So yeah, that's what I was talking before, and I was talking about the aspect, you know, about how to understand these two-body problems in mathematics, that we cannot even get to a three-body problem or a four-body problem, not even a solar system. That's impossible to understand it mathematically and to make it work, you know. So I think that's the core of it, you know. It's yeah. So we're open to discussion, to debate, and to give. I know there's someone who has their own investigation to add to this, and
you mean Dave? Dave's not on yet, Daniel. He's uploading some videos and it takes a bit of time. He'll be on in a bit. But we've just had his experiment, haven't we? And he's put that on Sun and Moon.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to discuss is this group in the sense that I would love to hear what everyone is expecting of this group, and how can we go further, you know, how can we decide the next video, and how can we, like,
Daniel,
group hangouts focus, you know, in some research.
Daniel, I'll kick off that one about, like, maybe the next video, and I really hope you don't mind. Would it be possible if we did Series' presentation just as the next one? Just so that if people don't understand, Series can answer questions.
Yeah, I think it's important as well. I thought it when I was watching Mark Sargent, and I think in the sense we need to understand why did you use those variables to make those relays, you know, those overlappings of information. How did you get, you know, to the conclusion in a diagrammic way, in the sense, I know we can understand your thought patterns, but we need to, like, see it, you know, in the sense to understand it, like we can grab it and recheck it, you know, because when we are up to that map where it's full of colors, full of patterns, full of diagrams, it's too much. It's too much, you know. I understand it, but it's too much. You're not able to accompany the person up to there, you know. We need to, like, open this thought process which Siri had, you know, and all the group to reach here, and we have to explain that, you know, in the sense, how do we come, okay, there's Google information first, you know, how those mathematics were applied to a map, you know, maybe for you it's a word and it's obvious, but for the rest of us, it's not. So I think we need to open, you know, like a child, you know, like with apples, you know. And
can I just say that I have said this to series. I have said this to series.
I only use math, computer, but the rest is just principles of circles and squares and yeah, powers of 2 maybe, but that's pretty common in the computer world because it's all binary, based on power of 2.
I have said that to series, by the way, but we have to do that on the next one, series. Okay, you got time now to think about how you can maybe explain a little bit better to some people, but that'll be the next one. But I have said that, haven't I? Whether we split up the presentation and do a bit by a bit, because there's different things on the presentation, like you've got how you got the pixels and what it means when they've bent, and there are sections in that video. Maybe we have to do, I don't know. I have said that to you, though, haven't I? But if Daniel doesn't mind doing that for the next one.
No, not at all. I'm just here for the group, you know. I don't have a own agenda, you know.
Oh, bless you, Daniel.
Helping, you know.
Daniel has a very sweet heart, you do, Daniel. So, who wants to kick this one off then? Frankie!
Hello.
Frankie, tell Daniel what you thought.
Hello.
Then.
Well, he knew. Everybody knew that I didn't quite get what he was going on about. I can't stand his voice and everything else. So when Daniel did that short explanation, it made sense to me. I knew what he was going on about there. But for me, that's what I think this is going to be. Not just for me not understanding, but like he said, for other people who don't understand, there might be just a little bit, or somebody might just say something that'll trick it into place. And as a community, that's what we've got to do, help each other move forward and grow.
So the video club might become like the schooling, the schooling of the group on information. Yeah. I think what happens is that when they give you one answer, there's always another answer. So it's always a bit confusing, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's because knowledge is not linear, you know. That's the thing we're trying to reach. And we're reaching a point where we're getting to the limits, you know, of these material connections, you know. We have to get another variable, spirit, you know. When we're talking
is that because they're not
dimensions, what are we talking about? What are we talking about when we're talking about fifth dimension? What is that? You know,
see, Daniel, is it because they're not doing any work for it? You know, like they've got all these things, like the NASA going off on the ISS. They've got all that, but there's not enough information with what we're living in. They haven't done it, and if they have, they're keeping it secret from us. Well, the military know, because Sirius has got the next 100 years of the moon rises, so they know, but they're not teaching us any of that, are they? So everybody's going to be blind, aren't they, to understand what's really happening with the moon and the sun in the first place, because it's not taught at school. None of these things are, they're taught something completely different. They're taught all the wrong stuff. And so as you can't go and watch programs about it on, you know, like documentaries or anything, like you said, it's always going to be quite difficult, isn't it? Because how are you going to prove all this? There's nothing there. There's just theories.
That's because we're struggling with the idea of a mass awakening, you know, but maybe in the sense that everything is accurate, those who need to know, who are ready for the realization, they are gonna come, you know, and there's no effort in that, in the sense that we're trying to understand that everybody's gonna make it in the mainstream. Maybe this is part of this matrix, you know, and we're just in a level where we're starting to see it, and we're starting to get out of the game, you know. It's not that we're gonna change the game. Maybe this is a school, you know, and it has its reason. You know, we make conclusions in our purposes, in our collective purposes that we yet don't understand. That's my thought, you know. It's like we need to focus in what we are doing, because this is a specific research, you know. This is like deep specific research of flat Earth, going beyond flat Earth. It's understanding the self through, you know, the place we live, through the heavens, through the earth. So it's beyond this information, you know, pack, because we're going beyond it, you know. So when we're trying, imagine you presented series map to a person the first time ever heard flat Earth. It wouldn't be able to grasp anything, you know, anything. It would be lost, you know. So.
You at least the flat Earth to begin with, you realize it doesn't spin and that it's flat.
Yeah.
Later then the fourth dimension, and then the rest beyond the North Pole and the South Pole.
Yeah, but I think for that, the person has to have something, in the sense it has to have its own spiritual personal evolution to understand that kind of knowledge. It cannot
That's
be, you know, it's a step you have to make yourself, because it has to do with understanding the other dimension. And how do we sense the other dimension? Through our spirit, through our spiritual life, our spiritual connection. So if you didn't have it, how are you going to understand? You know, I'm here trying to look with a microscope, the atom, you know, that's where I am. So you're talking about God, you know, I want to understand. So I think that's what I'm looking, you know. It's like people, they're getting to the roof and you can hear like the sound when they hit the roof. You're like
inside the black cube in that sense, they can't get out. But yeah, a combination of things. In their mind, they need to be at least on the ego level to go beyond that particular barrier, so they can get into the universal level of that particular realization of the full and utter responsibility you have anyway for yourself.
Exactly.
That point is where it starts for when you get the realms part, I guess. And not many will get beyond their ego, and let alone get out of the collective level.
Yeah, I say realm now. I say realm.
And we should respect that, you know, they're not ready. And we have to respect every cycle of consciousness, you know, in the sense, is their true purpose. Maybe we have to go through that same space to be here, you know. So we cannot judge them, you know. They're just in first grade of school, you know, whatever. So how can you laugh at a kid that is in first grade, you know, like.
Yeah.
You have to see it, you know, and accompany him. And
that's what I just said, Daniel. This will end up being like Flat Earth schooling. The schooling video club. For people who don't understand these things, there's so many things that people won't understand that we can talk about in this group.
Because we're going beyond. We're going beyond. That's it. For me, that's the key, you know. So we are entering in the philosophical, spiritual endeavor of this path. And for that, as Siri says, your ego cannot be struggling with you, because you're going to choke with the information.
Can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing? Again, like, I sat, and even Frankie, you know, Frankie was around when Siri started putting his stuff out. I know we're talking about that bit at the moment, but we've watched it loads of times and it's quite a lot to take on, but in a sense, we know in our hearts and we trust, and I trust series. So I don't question things like other people because I trust him. I've seen him, what do you call it? Not make this, he's found this and made this. You know, he hasn't just gone and picked something out of thin air. He spent hours and hours and hours and no one understands how many hours series has spent so far on all this stuff. So I trust him. I've watched him make it. I've watched him find it. I've watched him make the web page grow. I've watched all this stuff happen. So, in a sense, I don't question it like other people. Because I've been there where series has been uncovering it, even if I don't understand it all quite. If that makes sense.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. In the sense, that is what it made you understand him, because you were there every moment. So you have that in comparison to someone who didn't have that time and didn't have that. So he just sees someone talking about, you know, relationships, you know, and because that's what we're talking about, you know. We're talking about relationships and how we accept our mind making connections, and we can validate them. We don't need even science for that. And that's, for me, the great revelation, is we're starting to hear our mind, our inner source, more than whatever physics or science can even say to you, you know, because this is a more complex instrument than any science that can be man-made, because our own science, our own magic is divine. So it's beyond, you know.
I know everybody thinks they know everything, don't they? And they don't. Everybody believes, they just think, oh, I know everything now because I watched a video. You know, there are other people, you know, even like Dave, who are researching. You know, people are really doing the testing themselves, and things don't add up to what people have been told for the last couple of years. And now we have to somehow get extra work out so that people realise it's not quite like you've been told. Anyway, that's the way it goes, I suppose. Maybe they never thought Flat Earth was going to take off like it did, and now you've got to be like a scientist.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but it's not necessary.
except for the Church of Science, then.
But did you hear what Mark Sargent said? He said, I've never seen any work like this before.
Yeah, he was impressed.
To be honest, the very beginning of that hangout, I don't know what happened. I suddenly realised my microphone wasn't on, so anything I asked him wasn't going to come up, so I had to cut me out. And he's sitting there and he's doing, whoa, yes, no, he's being fired with questions, and he still carried on. He was a really cool man. I actually really liked him. And the fact that he has written back and he's been very upbeat, and the fact that he's going to continue to do all these other things, I think that's a good sign. You know, so, you know, eventually, series, he'll understand. Because you'll have to tell him. But it's a bit much, isn't it? He came on, he didn't know that maybe he was going to be shown all that information. And to be honest, he did say, whoa, 10 people, I'm going on a hangout in a minute with a couple of people, that'd be easy. You know, like, he knew there was quite a few people sitting there. So it was a big, like, throw in at the deep end for him, wasn't it? But anyway.
I've also
carry on.
Particular priority rule in information, and that's only to those who are actually wanting to know, because those are ready to actually ask the questions. What you said about it being ready, those who are being ready are those who actually want to know.
That's another reason why I've been putting out a bit of stuff about the human body lives in dimensions, so that people understand that if you can understand your own body's in multi-dimensions, then why is it so hard to believe that outside your body will be? We are completely living in everything we live in our bodies and outside is multi-dimensional. We've just been made to see it through these 3D eyes. And even that's quite incredible because you don't actually see it. It's the back of your brain the information goes, which is in a dark place. And your eyes then filter out an image of what everything is. But it's actually the back of your brain in the dark. So that bit never sees any light, that part of your brain. So even that's just amazing how you even get the information.
Right. Get your thumb like that. Yeah, do that with your thumb and hold it out at arm's length. Yeah. If you hold it out at arm's length, what your thumb is what your eyes actually see in focus. Every single thing else in your vision, your brain is making up. Okay? So all you actually see in focus is that thumb. It's
Great.
that size. So wherever you're looking, that's all you see in focus, that tiny thumb size, and everything else in your image, your brain is making up.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah.
So
It's like your nose. You don't see your nose. You should see your nose.
I know, that one
Your
always
brain
boggles me.
filters
We
it
should
out.
see our nose, shouldn't we? It's right in the middle, but we don't. That's quite incredible, isn't it? That you should see this lump in the middle. Well, I suppose if you close one eye, you can see it, but you don't even see your nose. People just don't realise how multi-dimensional we are. You know, like, I've said this before, you can like wiggle your toes, I can talk to you, I can give you a hug, I can touch something else, I can eat, I can blink my eyes, my heart's going, my brain's going. These are all different things. I know it's a little bit different, but we live under frequencies anyway, our bodies, don't we? We're magnetical and etc., etc., and so is outside. What's that, Daniel?
A lens.
A lens. I was playing with it today. It has a concave perfect form, and I actually make a sun hug, you know? When you invert, when you put the light in or you put it out, it makes different reflections, you know? And I could replicate. It's hard for you to see it, you know, but I could see inside, you know, exactly how you see the sun and the sun hug. And if I take it away, it doesn't make a sun hug. But if I close it up, it makes a sun hug. If I put it in the other side, I can make the sun hug, but it's replicated more quickly in the sense it's making more layers. So yeah, I think observation like this are key, you know. We're looking everything through a lens. So that's the human eye, you know. So
So you mean our eyes are making the sun dog then?
The edge of what I can see. I can see still both my hands.
But if your eyes are making the sun dog, how can you capture it on the photograph though?
Because the photograph and every optic is the same replicate of a lens. Every lens works the same. They're all lenses. Or all optics work the same. It's the same concept.
Golly. So
yeah, I'm not saying that the eye is making the sun hug. I'm saying that there's some kinds, you know, of lens that is behaving with the sun as well, you know. And I saw a video of Oliver. He had a video recently where he talks about a secondary light source, in the sense that there's the sun, there's the reflective like firmament, and that's the second light source, you know. It has to be, because it's not, we only have like shadows in like in a studio when you only have one light source. You know?
Yeah, I understand. People don't realise there's two light sources. The sun is not causing the light, and the sun isn't there, and yet the light's there, and there's no shadows. It's a different kind of thing, that light source.
There's a sunlight, something.
And if we just had the sun, it would be just a bit brighter than the moon.
Light was the first created, and then the sun was created, and the moon.
Yeah, he said, yeah, actually, yeah. That's the point he issued, and I think it's a very good point. Yeah.
If we didn't have the light, if we didn't have the light source, then the sun would be a bit brighter than the moon. It would be brighter than the moon, but it wouldn't light up the whole sky. It's up in the black when you see it on the high altitude balloons. Is it lighting the black up? No. It's only lighting us up because of this light source, all the frequencies and everything, and the light, whatever it is, and it's bouncing off us and helping to create probably the light source as well, but it's reflecting on us, and then it's shining that way. But it's not shining in the black, is it? It's black up there still with the sun in it.
The not sunlight, that's a light but doesn't create shadows. Kind of. It's
exactly.
The same, so you can't see any shadow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Robert did one on his videos about the sun, and he said, "Yeah, but there's got to be another light source because here's a motorbike, and the sun is not behind the motorbike. Yet there's light behind the motorbike." And I don't think people even realise that there's two light sources. There's the sun and our light source, which, you know, like I don't know about anybody else, but I bet you Diaz, when you're awake in the morning, early morning, the light source comes and the sun takes a couple of hours extra after the light source is here to actually start appearing. You know, in my view.
Yeah. Or when it's cloudy, you know, here now it's cloudy. I cannot see the sun. The sun is blocked by the moon, by the clouds, and I cannot see the yellow light of the sun. But here where I am, everything is illuminated and there's no shadows. I can see the trees clearly and the sun is blocked. You know, and there's light everywhere. So yeah, it has to have another kind of movement, the light, another source, yeah. Or yeah, you know, what your map made me thought. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, but everybody, like, you did, D, when did it hit, well, I just want to ask you one individually, when did it hit you about the light source, or did you already know that, D? You know, like there was,
you broke up.
So when did it hit you about, like, the light source? Was it something that you already knew, or was it something you realised in Flat Earth that, hey, it's not just the sunlight, because we take everything for granted, don't we?
That's right.
Oh, hang on.
Well, it's kind of only hit me recently because I've listened to you talking about two light sources, and I've kind of gone along with it, but I've not really thought about it too much. And see, thinking back again to what science used to tell me about light, and the light that hits our eyes, that's been bouncing around possibly for millions of years. And if you put that kind of thought together, well, then why isn't it light at night time with all these bits of light bouncing around everywhere? If it's taking all this time for this light to hit your eyes, and it's bouncing all over the planet or everywhere, or underwater, blah 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 blah, through the atmosphere, through clouds, blah 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 blah, into your eyes. I mean, over millions of years this could take. So it should be light all the time or none of the time, really.
Yeah. That's Olber's paradox. There was a guy called Olber, and he came with a paradox, and in the scientific world, nobody responded in a common sense way, because he said the light of the sky will be totally white. There'll be no black. It's impossible. He made the mathematical calculation, and should be, and that's where they came with the light scattering theory. But they even recognize light scattering. They don't know why it happens. You know, they have to recognize it because they cannot know.
Yeah. Well, it's just another one of those scientific things that you can't have both. You can either have one or the other. And
yeah, it's black or white, dude. Come on. And the astronauts don't even get to agree even. You know, we have interviews, and some say it's white, you know, as a classroom, and others say velvety black as a substance, you know. So yeah.
So is Gary joined now? Is that Gary?
Yeah, Gary came in.
Alan's dropped off because his internet wasn't very good. He says he can't get on properly, so he's gone. He says it's weather and everything. Okay. Carry on, Gary. Hello, Gary.
Oh yeah. Hello everyone.
It's taken a few attempts to invite people today on some people, but anyway, welcome Gary. We haven't actually got round to the video yet. We've been talking about the next one, maybe do one on series' presentation so that people can ask questions about that. And we've just been talking about light source. Sorry, and I can't remember what Dee said. What did you say, Dee?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, basically I was saying, well, if light's bouncing around for millions of years before it hits your eyes, it comes from the sun to the earth, then it bounces around in the atmosphere for, like I say, it could be up to millions of years, and then it hits your eyes, and that's when we actually see light. Well, I was just saying that, well, in that case, how can it be dark ever or light ever? It should be either one or the other.
But we have a light source which comes over in the morning. You can see it on any high altitude balloon or anything. I mean, that's a fake it, but you still get this light source. What do you think, Gary? When did it hit you that there was a light source and the sun?
When you say a light source, you're on about being the sun.
No, in the morning before the sun comes, the light source comes. If we just had the sun on a high altitude balloon is in the dark. So it would never light the sky up. It would never light the whole sky up. It'd be brighter than the moon, but we have a light source.
Yeah, I must admit, I would have to say that this isn't something I've really given a lot of thought to. Obviously, there's probably a lot of people on this hangout tonight that's probably a lot more looked into it a bit more than me, but I personally haven't. So I've got nothing to really add at this moment. Really.
Okay, well you're in the hangout, so we'll have the hangout and then you'll make comments. What about you, Frankie?
It was sort of last year when I realised when we were talking, can you remember when I was doing my staying up late thing and not making myself very well? And we were up and you were saying, look out now, it's light and there's no sun. And it was like, oh yeah. So it was sort of late last year when I realised that there was, but I always thought it was weird that it was light and there was no sun.
Yeah, if you're up early enough. Yeah. And to be honest, I have a video out on YouTube, and I think that's the thing that's capturing people, is because I go, look, there's no sky. When you're up there in a high altitude balloon looking down, you don't see any sky. You see straight down to the land. It's only looking up we see the blue sky, not looking down. It's not there. Once the balloon gets past that light thing and gets into the black, about 15 miles up, then there is no blue sky and it just sees everything below. There's no blue to go through, is there, to get to the earth? It just sees the earth. And everything is reflective. The water, the clouds, the land, everything is reflecting, making a reflection back up. So what about you, series? When did it come across you that there was two light sources?
Genesis.
Right, okay.
Just explaining to the whole build-up from heaven to earth. It happened first as well, and time before that. In the beginning, well, time, heaven and the earth were created. And that's just the first line already. And then the whole separation of the waters, and then the first light, and then the first day and night, because it was light. So, and that happened before the sun and the moon. And then on the third day, the sun and the moon were created. So that's a whole other direction of light, of a guiding light in that sense. A light for the day and a light for the night.
I think that we could
see the moon only in the night.
I think we could probably live here without the sun for the light side of it. It wouldn't be very warm, but we need the sun. The flowers aren't just following the sun, are they, because of the heat? There must be all this stuff coming from the sun, the rays. There's masses of stuff happening. There's electrical things going on. There's masses of things going on with the sun. So we need the sun for the crops. But we probably could live here, sort of, if you could work out how you were going to grow your vegetables. It wouldn't be very warm, would it?
Karen, it's like water, isn't it? Water, you can't live without water, but you can drown in water. So the sun is, like you say, very important.
Yeah, but I think for the light side of things, we could be here, but we need the sun for the trees, for everything, as well as like water. It's just, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I think Gary was saying there is maybe that's why we have a day and a night, because you could maybe get too much sun.
Yeah.
I don't know, Gary, if I'm kind of misquoting you there or not, but
Yeah, no, basically it's like all things, isn't it? You can have too much of anything, and obviously there's certain things that if you don't have enough of something, then it takes time before, say for you're deficient of vitamin D over a period of time. That's why some people get SAD. But I think if you think about it, Karen, if we started off that apparently we all came from cavemen and whatever, and you had fire and whatever. If you got to the point that it was always dark, I don't think, if that model is correct, I don't think society would have ever taken off, because you would have never got. I don't think those building blocks would have ever. You need a progressive enhancement before they get into producing wheel and engineering and everything else. But I know that's a completely different subject.
No, but I've got another one to add in, because mine's connected to yours. If there's free energy floating around in our whole system anyway, and they can tap into it, and people like Alan can make free energy and devices out of it, we're breathing all that in, and the plants are breathing all that in. They're breathing in all the free energy that's up in the in our atmosphere. We're all breathing that in, and the plants are as well. So that's another part of it. Anyway,
there's a cycle going on.
Yeah, it's a complete cycle. Anyway, when did it hit you then, Daniel?
About the two light sources.
Yeah.
I think I've been thinking it more deeply, like really looking at it, and I have a crazy theory, but I like it in the sense that I believe the true source of the light maybe is in the heavens, not in the sun. And the sun is just a 5-dimensional lens that is translating the light of the heavens. And it's, it's an object of but the true source of the light is coming from upward, and that's why we have two light sources, because one is concentration. One is the concentration of the source, and the other is the source itself. It's crazy, I know, but I'm trying to understand the sun as a thing. In itself, it's incomprehensible. So how can we understand it?
In a way, I figure it doesn't really matter which detail we take. All of creation is needed to actually function as a whole, and it's the balance of the whole of the dark and the light and everything. The male energies as a very dynamic play of actually as a concert or something. There's nothing we can actually take apart of and then figure it out without the rest.
Yeah.
Do that.
Every variable affects. Yeah. That's what science. That's the failing part of the scientific method, is that you decide which variables are affecting you. So that's impossible, because you cannot take any variable out. There's only holistic comprehension, a complete whole comprehension. It's just separation, and it's not the truth. Yeah, I agree totally. And again, we're talking about the self and conscious.
I think it's amazing as well, even like clouds. You imagine they're not actually that far up in the sky, and sometimes when they're grey and dark, it'll be full of masses of water. Tons and tons of water is sitting, like, say, less than a quarter of a mile above our heads, and still, like, moves through the sky. And the clouds don't sort of drop on us, do they? It's not like the clouds that you get a cloud drop on you with the water. If you imagine it, they're not that high up and they're full of water. I mean, our whole system, the way it works, I know it's obviously to do with electrical fields or magnetical fields to keep those clouds up there, but all that water stays up in the sky.
Yeah.
It's all crazy. Anyway, Patricia, what about you then? Patricia? Flat Earth calling Patricia.
Sorry, it cut out just when it does that every time you go to mention my name, it cuts out. So I can't hear who you're asking.
Oh,
so, yeah.
What?
No,
yeah.
I'm quite a simple person, and I think the only time I realised about light sources and never questioned it was Genesis. Going through the indoctrination of religion, and yeah, I don't have much to say, to be honest, other than I know that we need a balance in everything, like Sirius was saying. Balance, so we have the light and the day to the sun and the moon to separate the night from the day, because we've got too much, like Gary said. It could, or we don't get enough. We have to have that balance.
Thank you, Patricia. Anyway, really, this is sort of Daniel's night. So, Daniel, I'll hand over to you because it was your video you put out. So, I hand over to Daniel.
Okay. Does anybody want to talk about specifically the video? Has anyone something to say about it?
Could I just add something? Yeah, could I add something? Are you looking at the video that you originally put out, the 29-minute or 27-minute video?
Morgile video.
You know the video that John put out is about 27 minutes long?
Yeah, that's the one we're discussing. The one that's on the post.
Why I'm asking is because I decided to have a look about an hour ago just to make sure there's no updates, and there is an update. He said he basically made 3 technical errors on his data. So he's actually done another video and put it out yesterday. So what I'm trying to mention is that if we didn't discuss this video from 3 or 4 days ago, it's actually been superseded.
There you go, Daniel, because I think that's why Daniel wanted to use this video, because he could spot the errors. Carry on, Daniel.
I uploaded to the group the update as well. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, because it was in the Flat Earth Video Club group.
Right, sorry. Oh, I might not have seen that one, sorry. Been a bit busy.
I did watch the update one, but I've got to say, I'm kind of like Frankie there. I'm a bit stuck on what he's trying to say with it all.
So what do you think he's...
I think that...
Carry on, Gary.
No, all I'm going to say is that in looking at it, and I haven't fully understood the maths yet, and I'm like D a little bit, is I think what he's basically saying is that the moon is moving between the tropical Cancer and Capricorn, the angles that he's talking about, and unfortunately he keeps saying the same thing over and over again with the percent, the degrees of angle and everything else, and it got to the point that you can easily become very lost. Right here. But I think what he's trying to say is that because the moon is only actually going in between the 2 tropics, that what he's saying is that the distance that the moon is allegedly trying to make it 38,000 miles away is that it can't be where it is. Now, I don't quite know if his new video explains it. I think he did realise that he's made some errors on his first video.
Is he got a bit like not putting series in there like that? But you've just explained that we may be going to do one about Sirius's presentation. He's got this information. It's so detailed that when he went to explain it to people, no one understood it. Is that what's happened to him?
Yeah.
It's for me. Yeah, that's how I view it.
Yeah.
She's perfect.
Yeah, in this.
Daniel.
He's using the seasons, the seasons of the actual axis rotation to understand that the moon cannot be there, That's it. That's the main point of it. Is in the precession of the season by the actual axis alineation, and there are two kinds of elliptical alineations, you know, and one is the solar alineation, and that's they're the axial. In that two body problem, that's why I thought about it, because it's a mathematical problem. It's impossible, and that's why he puts bombshell, you know, because in his thought process, when he got to that conclusion, that was when he wanted to share that information, he got lost in the process how he got there, you know, and how simple it is at the same time. I'm sure it could be shown just with a diagram, 1 minute long, you know. It's not necessary to like repeat because as you said, Gary, it's easily to get lost, and I think the information is a little.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
But you know, on that moon, the other day I was looking at it and the sun was shining on it. Yeah, the sun was beginning to start going, you know, off to west. So we're talking of late afternoon. When I couldn't capture it quick enough because I was out. But I looked at it and I just thought, it looks like I could get to it. Like, it just looks like it's about 20 miles away. I can see all the craters. I can see the way that the light was shining on it. It was so crystal clear in the daytime. It just looked like I could travel to it quite easily. That's what it looked like. You know, at night time it gets more orangey, doesn't it? Sorry, carry on.
You're a superwoman.
What, to get to the moon? I'd be the first one, wouldn't I then?
Yeah.
I'd be the first one. But it just...
You have the ability to see objects, you know, thousands of miles away, millions of miles away.
But it did look so close that day. It doesn't always look like that, even in the daytime. I think it was because the sun was really shining behind it. It did look like the sun, because when the sun got a bit further away, the colour on the moon changed. Now, I think the moon is a different light source, but that point, the sun was shining as well. Because it's there in the sky, isn't it? You know,
but this is what I mean. When it's there in the sky as well, why are you only seeing half the moon?
Yes,
you should be seeing either the whole moon or a tiny sliver of the moon, and
that does bother me.
Anyway, I was just going to say that the moon is out right now in the UK if you want to go and see it.
Is it? I can't see it. It's too cloudy.
Yeah.
It's too cloudy. I've got
to. What we could really do with is we almost need to be on a hangout with somebody in different parts. Like you've got like Wilson in Canada, and you need somebody down in Australia, maybe Judith, and then basically at a given time we are comparing notes at that time. And literally, you look 5 minutes earlier, then you're on the hangout, and you're then discussing what you've seen. Because I saw a couple of weeks ago I was playing tennis, and the moon was up in the sky, and the sun was similar height, obviously set different parts. And that's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which in theory is 4 o'clock in the morning in Australia. Have they got no moon there at that time? And I think that's one of the things about these chemtrails. Is it chemtrails? Is it poisonous, or is it to block the sky? You know, I know there's conjecture on that, but you can't. I just don't see at 4 o'clock in the afternoon you can have the moon and the sun in the same sky. I just don't see it. Well, you see it. I don't understand it.
Well, Australia gets it reversed to me. I did do a bit, you know, before with the with someone else. I did do a bit last year with the moon, and they always had the reverse of me. But again, I was saying to them, the light is still going off to America, and Australia was getting the sunlight. So the sun was going off to America, and yet Australia was having light. The sun was starting to come up there. So I just think it's incredible on that score. It isn't even that big, but I've seen it. I've said this before. I went to work one night, and the moon was there, and an hour and a half later it wasn't there, and I had to drive 7 miles before I saw it again. I mean, I had to drive 7 miles in 1.5 hours before I could see the moon. And when I saw it, it had like a moon, you know, like you have the sun, you know, when they do the sun shining on the earth, a sunspot. There was a moon spot. And if I had to drive 7 miles to see it, how could someone in London see the same moon as me? If I had to drive 7 miles to see it, how could anybody else see it miles away? But I think what I talked to Ceres about was that this bubble thing you're in, you're always going to see the sun and you're always going to see the moon, and so is everyone else. A bit like when Dee said he went to the beach and he asked his daughter to take a picture of the sun. The sun didn't go to Dee's feet, it went to Dee's feet and his daughter's feet, but you couldn't see that with each other. It's just, that's what happens when you're looking at it from a distance. You both see the sun coming to you. Do you see what I mean? And that's what happens in this bubble you live in. It's crazy, because it means that sun I see, someone else sees it in their bubble, and someone else sees it in their bubble. And so imagine how much dimension things going on.
And this is where the flower life comes in. This is why I'm very much drawn to the flower life at the moment, because that kind of explains everything for me, because you can see the overlapping bubbles, but they're each individual bubbles in their own right.
So the sun is always everywhere. Where I know it's supposed to set and not be in certain parts for the night, but whenever the sun is there, it's there for everyone. When it's coming through your part of the sky in the day, it's there for everyone. Everyone sees it. This is the most sort of crazy thing we live in. Don't you think? We live in a most amazing place.
But the thing is, for globalists to get it, you almost have to spell it out to them that in here, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning in Australia, and you've got to look at the globe and actually say, well, there's the sun, that's what we're seeing. You can't physically see it where you are, and it's basically, it's depending on what we want to do with it, because it's all very well us being convinced, but it's obviously, if you get globalists convinced, then you build more momentum. It's great that 100,000 people in the UK all believe in the flat Earth, but we need to move it on to actually make a difference for the authorities to start taking it seriously.
I know it's all really crazy, because obviously, you know, I've been making a few videos at the moment. Okay, if you don't like my bit of research into NASA, when they even show you the globe, and I've told you what they do. I don't know how they do it exactly, but that plane, when it turns round, it makes a ball below it. And then they're showing the ball spinning round, but supposedly you're supposed to be seeing half the Earth, and it's moving, you know, quite fast, but it's them that's moving. I mean, it would take them seconds to go round the Earth if that was the case, not an hour and a half, 2 hours. It would be so quick because they're making it look so small, but people aren't noticing this. They're not realising what they're looking at. Fake CGI crap. Because in reality, like you say, how could someone here be seeing the light and the sun go off and it's coming up in Australia at the same time? On a globe, there's just absolutely no way that the sun would be able to get round to Australia and England at the same time.
And we shouldn't have sunsets and sunrises either, you know. In a globe, it should be immediate day and night.
I think that's what happens, though, isn't it, Daniel? But it's that lensing thing again. Because was it Rob Scuba did that one?
Oh yeah.
Scuba?
Yeah, that's the excuse, the light scattering. I know, but I think it's false. No, it's false. Here, with a so distant object with so big light, you would have a straight line of shadow and day night, straight, immediately, because you cannot compare light scattering about an object that big. You know, it's impossible. That's why it laughed. You know, I saw a couple of interviews where scientists are talking and they're laughing about it because they know it's loony. You know, and they know this whole umbra penumbra thing about the eclipses. It's loony as well. You know, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, have you guys seen the lunar wave?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to ask a personal question to the group. Do you think reality can change in the sense that maybe you're gonna go to mountain today. I'm gonna measure it. The height is gonna be 10, and by the night, and you're gonna measure it again the other day, it's gonna be 11. Do you believe that reality can change?
Like Series' explanation of reality changing, whereas it's more the perception of reality changes rather than the actual reality itself changing.
Yeah, only our changes.
So I'm just going to be a second. I'm just going to nip down to the bottom because
Hey,
I can't quite see the moon from where I am.
D,
I want to try and
I wanted to ask you. D, I wanted to ask you. You know, don't you, that if the sun's in other dimensions, it's not even a circle. We see it as a circle, but it's not a circle, a disc.
Yeah, no, this is why I'm getting drawn back to the Tesseract again, because for me, I can't explain it, but for me, it explains a lot. Because it's circling the square. So you've got the flower life with the Tesseract inside it, and you've got the moon kind of, and the sun, and this outside kind of circle of the flat square plane or whatever of the Tesseract that we. I can't explain it. There aren't words for it, but. Yeah, for me, it could just be a straight line, and we only see that circle of it because that's the edge of our perceptual bubble. Yeah, so.
So far, I figure even that through the fourth-dimensional light, what Brianna describes, the light we see on the edge of our perspective bubble is going into the center of a toroidal field. What you see is actually the portal within the middle of it.
We have said that before.
And then it and on the other side. But you look actually in the center of the toroidal field. That's where the light is, or sun or the moon. And in that sense, you look through a portal into the other side of that, or what's coming towards us. In the sense that this is the flow of that particular toroidal field, what floats on the Earth. See the center, but we feel the field in that sense. The heat of the sun or the cold of the moon.
But even that one, the sun isn't even hot, but by the time it gets to us, we feel it as hot, but the sun isn't hot. So it just gets more crazy.
Oh no, yeah, I've got kind of an idea about that with you know the that superconductive bit of material around it. They chuck it around a magnet and it floats around on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that could be how they stay up there. Anyway, so I'm just going to nick down to the bottom a minute and try and take some shots of the moon while it's out. And
and we.
Okay, D.
Our body, the body is way bigger in that sense than the actual center light we see. And that's the body we feel as a floating field over us.
Series, I've got an idea for you. Maybe you need to make the glasses, you know, like you've got 4D glasses to watch the television. Series needs to make glasses so that we can see the multi-dimensions happening. You wouldn't want to go outside, would you? You wouldn't want to go outside and try and walk in it while you've got the glasses on. If you put the glasses on, maybe you could see all the dimensions happening.
Carrying it back from that film. What was that film when you put the glasses on and saw all the what's it? Oh, They Live. Is it They Live?
Oh yeah, They Live. Yeah.
Because people can't see it, or you know, like people don't realise Series has got to do like Ken Wheeler, Santos, and Free Anarchy all together in a simulation, and no one's ever done it before. It's true.
Maybe not even down at the bottom. I can't get to the moon yet. Sorry.
Yeah, Series has got to do all that. So he's got to do about 3 people's work together, plus his own, and show the land at the same time.
Yeah, it's the center of it all. It's kind of the connector of the pillars of heaven and earth. Yeah. Archimedes brought me on an idea. He has this particular alphabet, 26 squares, in where the T is the earth and the G is the heaven. And I'm trying to build the whole flower of life pattern below it. Here the squares and on top the circle, on top of...
it's a little bit blurry, series.
Both sides of the grid within the square and the flower of life, that you can see the repeating of it. So far I figured the circle is in the beginning, in the middle, exactly on the edge, on the side, where it is there the same as half a circle in that sense, where it is connecting. And here is the Polaris, and this is then the southern side.
Oh, we can't quite see it, series.
On the sky. Yeah, either way, north and south. But I put it A to N to N to Z, so I make this the circle in that sense. From alpha to the omega in that sense. And the figure then through the alphabet as the particular squares. But then the circles are, what is it? Here from the half to there to the half, but in the middle, exactly the circle in the middle of the square. And then on top of that, exactly the same. In where you have the balance in circle in the middle, exactly in heaven and earth. And the rest are deviations of the square in that sense. And only the circle here in the middle of the square is edge of the square, connecting both squares together in that sense. And being the center of the Polaris circle and the solar circle in the other side. So the wheel turns on top of us in fourth dimensional sense, or actually in sixth dimensional sense from top to down. But over the fourth dimensional looping.
Right, got that.
And the other is on the other side. This one will see this side of the sky, and this one will see that side of the sky. But if the sky moves half to the side, then it will be the other way around. And you see always a kind of wheel on top of it. And this whole bending of the light through the north and the south circle back into itself. But it goes actually straight on. But through the fourth dimensional polygon form, or the toroidal field, it causes that it is actually bending around you, kind of as if there is a pole on a ball. That's why it's so easy to fool people for the ball. But there is a real barriers, if you ask me. Physical ones, in the sense it's just too cold, and it's a complete world beyond as a complete square. You know, and it's an immense distance as well. So yeah, it's more a physical barrier than, I don't know, if there is a spiritual one, then it's also being in order with the Most High, etc. Not particularly these contracts go around with intent, blood over intent. Their blood.
Yeah.
That particular one, I don't know what contract that is, but it feels like it.
Yeah, it's about bringing about heaven on earth, apparently. So you're doing it for the intent of somebody else who believes he is like the one.
Pass to the north.
Yeah, apparently they're heading off. Like, so I mean, I'm sure they would love your coordinate series.
No, they want to get to Mount Meru. They want to get like to the Tree of Life and get to the center, and then put their blood there, and there do the blood over intent, and then be free and be like open to receive the stairs of the heaven. That's what blood over intent is.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's just quasi-luminous. Apparently he's found the sphere, hasn't he? So, yeah.
I asked if anybody had anything to add to the video, because I personally, I don't want to get into the detail because I think the information needs to be in order, you know, and it's messy and it's hard to sift it, you know. So yeah. Does anybody else have something to say about the video? What do you recall, Gary, or Patricia, or Frank?
That's more the question of what the point of the video actually is. What do you want to prove there? That it's wrong, or?
Yeah, that's it. He wants to prove that doesn't match reality. That's it. It says the heliocentric model doesn't match reality, and it cannot. It's not possible because of seasons and because the actual inclination. And it doesn't, you know, when you prolongate those lines and you try to make the alignment, understand where moon is passing through the Capricorn, through Cancer, through the equator, it doesn't match. It's impossible because it's always going to be 5 degrees off that alignment, you know, because of the actual precession. So that's the core of it, but it's like, you know, explain that with a lot.
That's sort of what Dave's done, isn't it? That's what Dave's done with his video.
I was just about to say that, Karen. Yes, it seems like he's very much edging on what Dave's trying to show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dave is trying to show it through speed, you know, and difference in speed and velocity and the actual movement, and he is doing it through the heliocentric model and mathematics and trying to show it's ridiculous. It doesn't add up. Not even in a supposed theoretical, you know, work. That's the funny thing. It's like the math crashes itself. That's why with a 3-body problem, 4-body problem, it's because of that. You know, because it's a fallacy. It is written through an axiomal, I don't say axioma. Yeah, that is false. So everything you build on top of it is gonna crumble in itself, you know, because it cannot sustain it.
And this is, like you say, why they still haven't worked out the 3-body problem. So
yeah.
I mean, it's very easy doing it with 2. Yeah, you get the Earth and the Moon. Yeah, that works out fine. Stick the Sun in the problem. Yeah.
You get the Nobel Prize immediately. Just solve a 3-body problem, you get the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
Immediately. Yeah, it's the basis, you know, and I'm starting to see the scientific community, you know, that was ego-driven, more being blind to see that than strategically deceptive, in the sense that the bureaucracy, you know, and the ownership of material things and what it meant having a job and depending your family of it and being a scientist, I think that's the big thing that has us here in this place today, you know, is that we couldn't separate real science from jobs, you know, so we couldn't give scientists a real, you know, ability to research truth in a neutral way. No, we put them, you know, in the same economic system, so they were just prey of whatever endeavor or whoever wanted to profit of them, you know, and that's the narrative we're receiving today. It's the add up of those things, you know, of corporations, of people with money manipulating, you know, because of a certain agenda or a certain purpose.
So do you think he's helped by releasing this video and updating, or do you think it's all become a bit more, I mean, we're a group of kind of researchers, so if we find it a bit confusing, but do you think that it will help people understand or not, Daniel?
I think yes. The half part of his video is a response because he got trolled by someone who is a flat earther, and he he responded to him like, you don't know shit about the heliocentric model, you're getting everything bad, your mathematics is wrong, and your idea is wrong. So he got heavily trolled, and he made an update because he went again to his video and he saw he had some errors, but that didn't throw away his idea. He just corrected some details that he explains in the new video that are just little things, and at the end he makes the same conclusion, you know, and he then goes on about the relationship with the troll and whatever, you know, and trying in a funny way trying to explain the troll in what reality theory is making up, you know, like it's like putting the moon and the earth and the alignment and saying, okay, how can this happen if the moon is here? You know, how in the equator? Please tell me. You know, that the mathematics doesn't add up. So that's, for me, that's the core what he's trying to communicate. You know.
I just wanted to say something. Maybe it's a good thing, but it's left to people like him and like Free Anarchy to try and explain how the world works. Now, Free Anarchy's done the same thing. He got heavily trolled and people laughed at him when he was only trying to show the concept of the fourth dimension. So I think he's gone off to make a much better presentation now on what he's trying to talk about. He was trying to give the concept over and people hacked him because everything wasn't dimensionally correct. And he said, when did I ever give the dimensions and say that? I was trying to give a concept. So maybe it's left to people like, you know, for our book video, our video group, people like him and Free Anarchy to sort all this out. I know Series is doing it, but you know what I mean? It's left to the people. And we're not, you know, we don't have technology we do, like NASA and all these other people. So there's going to be mistakes, I suppose, isn't there? While everybody's trying to sort this out slowly. And can I just say one thing? Sorry, Gary. I don't mean to digress, Gary. But if you understand, like a lot of people still are just happy. They just want to know we're flat, and they think that once say tomorrow you woke up and it's flat, and then it doesn't matter in time that scientists will tell us what we're really living on. But we're trying to understand it now. It could be, I don't know how many years ahead, but we're trying to work out what we're living on now. A lot of flat earthers are happy to wait until someone else in the future says, just as long as it comes out that it's flat. Anyway, that was my thoughts. Anyway, go on, D.
Me, yes.
Yeah. The circle
Oh, hang on, Siri.
For their own life.
Wait a minute, Series. Repeat that in a second.
So, need a leader. Being their own leader in the sense that they are the authors of their own life.
Okay.
You know yourself already what's good.
Maybe it's an honor we're chosen to do this task, you know. There's a Japanese say, it says, who sees the crack is in charge of fixing it, you know. Who sees the flaw is in charge of fixing it. So if we're seeing it, maybe we're in charge, maybe we're chosen to this, and we don't have to compare whatever others are doing because they're there because of reasons, you know, in the sense, the same reasons as we, you know, and we are not the judges. The same conversation we have with Darren, you know. I am not the judge to judge you and say you're a fallen angel or just the Holy Spirit, you know. I'm not the judge. I'm sorry, you know. That's not my task, you know. So if I'm chosen for a specific investigation and get interest, I believe that is my purpose, and I've been chosen for that. So let's do it, you know, and we're doing it.
D, what were you saying?
Oh, I can't remember now.
But I know this is digressing a bit, but because the whole this is about like trying to work out what we're living in and what's correct and what isn't correct. But you know, like in the space age, you looked up and you thought those are millions of miles away. The stars and the sun and the moon's 200. In your mind, you think it's that far away. And now you've woken up and realised they're just out there a bit. It's quite like maybe people can't get past that. You know that the sun's not 93 million miles away. The stars are not light years away.
Yeah, we're starting to digress again, aren't we?
Yeah, but it's the truth of understanding what we're living in. If most people don't realise and they think it's all these other things. So his video, was it really to the Flat Earth community or was it for everyone? He's just put that video out for everyone.
No,
he puts all this stuff out for everyone, doesn't he? So, I mean, I think we all do, don't we? I don't put my stuff out specifically for Flat Earthers. So I'm hoping that anyone who seeks the truth look to my videos and sees that I'm seeking the truth myself and not trying to give out answers that I'm saying are definite.
And the expectations, when you have a known realization and a known finding, the expectation of the other fully understanding that, that's a personal thing. You have the expectation that the other person is gonna jump and say, "Whoa, my God, you just solved my life." It's not gonna happen.
But this is I come from the point of view where I know it took me fracturing my spine to wake up. If I hadn't fractured my spine, I wouldn't have woken up. So I know how hard it is to wake some people up. I really do. Because I'm one of those people. It would have been impossible without what happened to me happening.
Yeah. And are the cycles of life, we have to respect them. When somebody is pregnant, you don't go to the pregnant person and say, "Why haven't you born yet? I'm so angry with you. Should be born already." Like, I hate you. You're in there. I cannot touch you. So yeah, the cycles, respect every cycle, every person and every state of consciousness is perfect in the sense it has to happen. It has to happen, and it has to happen because the same reason we all happen, In that sense, there's the same way for people who are discovering, as us, wherever the reality, 5 dimension, or whatever scientific revealing of cancer, as anybody else. There's no difference, we're all equal. We have the same value. And that's a challenge for us, for our understanding, because in our mind we make conclusions and say, okay, this is this, we have to be intelligent and this, but the world and the existence is so beyond our minds, it's so bigger than us. So for me, we have to approach it with humbleness, and understand that we cannot understand everything. And for me, that's a key. That's a key that opens more understanding. It works the counter fate and the counter way. But I think it's like that. It's like when you renounce control, you access.
It's no longer
You're
about
not rigid.
It's no longer about selling yourself. It's about getting to know yourself.
Well, Gary, do you have any more thoughts then about this video then?
One thing I would like to add is that, and I'm not knocking John TheMorgile, but to actually make it simplified when it is actually quite a deep subject and understanding it is, I'm a great believer in ratio between one concept to another concept. And if you can spell it out in one method and you say, this is basically what we've been led to believe based on what they're saying, difference, then I'm just literally looking at a video in the background here, and they've actually got 2 views on the video. One's with a fisheye lens and one's with a normal camera, and I've only watched 10 seconds of it, and it's absolutely amazing. And what I love about that is the concept of the difference. And that's why I think that a lot of people are like a globalist, they just can't see it, and what they are seeing, and then show them from a different viewpoint. Like, for instance, I was with my stepson, I don't know if I mentioned on the hangout the other night, and he saw a video, and I deliberately sent him a dodgy video, not dodgy, but a video that was knocking Flat Earth. it so he could have a look at it and see if he can get the grips with it or whatever. And when we started going through it together, he said, well, what about this? What about that? And I said, right, now look at it again and now look in more detail. And what he was doing, and it's going on, I've had 2 years at this, so much information. So you almost need to show them, I don't know, it's almost like saying, here's a cup. This is what a cup looks like. This is the handle. This is the base. This is what you put in it. But now let's show you from a different angle. And I do think it's all to do with concepts and it's all to do with ratio, you know, between one thing and another. But what I do, Karen, is I can't, because I'm on my my phone is not linked to go on YouTube. I will send this onto the group thing. But I just think though, and I'm not knocking John, but I just think that there's probably a simpler way of explaining it, because it could just be a revelation what he's given us, and I don't fully understand it to actually, I don't know, understand the significance of what he said.
Daniel said that he reckoned that he wished that he'd put in a little, like, you know, simulation or something. You know, he needed a.
I like that idea.
He needed a diagram to help better.
Yeah, see, what I think, what would be nicer is that you say, well, this is basically what they're saying. They're saying that the moon's here, so that means the angle would have to be there. But that isn't the case. It's this. And then you can see the difference. What he was doing, he was giving a lot of information very quickly, and I got absolutely bamboozled by it. Yeah, and I always need to look at his newer video to actually see the update.
I'm sorry, I didn't watch the update.
Yeah, I only noticed it an hour earlier, Karen. I just came online just to have a look, just to see, just in case.
Yes, it's
and there it was.
So what does the update say then? Because
it's only got a few changes. It's only got a few changes. It's not a massive update. It's like there was a diagram error and a slight angle error or something like that. So it's nothing major that you have to.
Oh no, that's the one I watched, I think. I'm not sure. I watched one he's doing about angles.
The first one was about 27, 28 minutes.
Update was like 50 odd minutes, so yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if it's still going to be confusing, but it seemed that way.
Yeah, like Daniel was saying, he kind of goes over the same thing again and again, and he addresses the troll him in the middle of things, and then he gets back onto point, and then he kind of goes off point again and adds more bits and repeats himself again. And this is what I mean, it got a bit too confusing for me. It's like, what point am I supposed to be following right now? So I think, like Daniel said, it would be nice if he'd just put a 1 minute video out with the diagram, just quickly, just from beginning to end, just go through his point.
Yeah. See, what I try to do when I try and explain things to people is I try to show them what they normally are seeing, and then I try to see, like for instance, I was looking at a video, a photograph of somebody on the moon, and you can see into look at that video and pause it and tell me what you see. And he basically just saw, but look deeper. And what you found in the visor, what looked like the horizon. But in his visor, you could also see in the opposite direction, the horizon. And I said, well, that makes the moon about across before it's starting to fall away dramatically. So when I then pointed out to him the significance of what he was seeing, he started to look at it in more detail. And it just, stuff is getting lost. Like this thing about the moon, we may be absolutely being bamboozled by it because it's just a little bit too much heavy information. I think John's a great guy in what he's done and whatever, but oh my God, it's I didn't get the grips with it. I thought Dave Martin had understood it, but
you know, the heaviest part is the mathematics of the heliocentric model. That's the heaviest part. That's why we struggle, because our mind is getting into dissonance. We're open to this truth and we're trying to understand, and it's deep. It's a deep net of thoughts, you know, and axioms. So I think that's very relevant when we try to understand the heliocentric model, you know, try to put these spheres going around, you know. It's a mathematical impossibility. Why they cannot calculate it, you know. So that's, for me, that's the core of it. Of course, it's not gonna make sense, you know, and I'm sure we're gonna find thousands more of you know, thousands of more times where mathematics don't match reality, and we're seeing it with the curvature, with altitude, with temperature, with levels, with buoyancy, with everything. You know, every time we apply physics to reality out of space, it doesn't happen. It's not real. So that's where we start to struggle, you know, and we start to trying to explain, and we get entangled in that kind of sorcery, you know, because it is the kind of sorcery in some way, you know. That's how they got away with it in the first place, you know. So yeah, I think he did a good job anyway, because he's putting his best out of there, and I think that's remarkable, you know. And I stay with that, you know. When I watch someone going out and whatever they thought, I think that's very brave, you know. And I want to believe he's doing it for the right reasons.
Oh, I'm sure he's doing it for the right reasons. I
agree.
I've never had any reason to suspect Morgile was as a deceiver of any kind. No.
Never. Can we start, like, is there a program we can start measuring the angle? Because I can take a picture of the moon with a compass, but I don't have an angle.
Have you got an Android phone?
An iPhone.
You might want to talk to Karen then, because Karen will be able to put you onto a decent app there.
Yeah, I'm just updating.
Okay.
My phone's updating at the moment, but it's called Compass Eye. But I have that here. I'm not sure, Daniel, because there's not that many on. There's hundreds of compasses, but not ones with the picture, the tilt, the degree. But Compass Eye added the tilt for me. So, and that one only costs, you know, a few. What's your money? It's a few £, for us. So that doesn't cost very much money. It just costs a couple of £.
Compass?
It's called Compass Eye.
How do you write it?
Compass and I.
EYE. I can send you a picture of it. I can't at the moment, but I'll send you a picture of it. I didn't mean to. I put it to standby because Gary put the link in the Hangout. But of course it pressed it and it didn't stop playing it. So I've left it on there. The Mythbusters busted faking and lying about curvature. And just looking at that, sorry, as we're talking, I know it's diversing, but just you mentioned it, Gary, and put it in. That's just what I proved on my video, my last video. The way they're inside the plane, it's actually the lensing of what they're sitting in or wherever where the camera's looking. But the cameras outside show everything's flat. And this is what this guy's doing. He's just showing how NASA make the ball.
Yeah. Did you see the video I linked in the comments?
Oh, that was you.
I've not looked at it yet, but I've seen it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just.
that was me. Did you see it?
Oh, that was you. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to play it. I was keeping it till after the Hangout, but it started playing, so I had to turn the volume off. And then I thought, oh, I'll just let it play then. You lot are playing in the background now. But that's just what I showed on my last video. And I said, this is how NASA make the ball.
Exactly. And he showed it so well how the lens distortion in a fish eye makes the curvature. You actually can see it. So I think it's a great video. You can see and how the banking of the air pilot is helping, you know. It's banking every time, so the distortion is created. Because the plane is so big, you know, so you always get distortion when you try to put the horizon at eye level. It's impossible, and that's why we always see that kind of take, you know, of the Earth. You know, we never see the curvature at eye level. We always see the curvature over there. You know.
So there you go.
That's how they make the trick.
He's taken that at 70k feet, and I said in my video there are 40, 50, 60,000 feet up, and they're filming it from there, and then they're telling people it's 300 miles. So yeah, it's cool. Anyway, I might just put the video on. I can't put it. Can you, in a minute, I'll ask you, Daniel, to share the link of the Morgile video, and I'll have that running in the background as we're talking. This one's just got to finish. It's nearly finished now. We just put it on, and as we're talking about his video as well, we'll just let the curvature one finish. Don't you think it's really incredible though? It's 2017, and it, you know, people are only just starting to come out with this stuff now to try and explain what we're living in.
I want to add, Karen, I was having a chat with a guy today, and he came up with something that I thought was quite interesting, is that because obviously there's every chance it's all been, this construct has been created, he said that maybe it's only going to ever be, you know, we're only going to see it when we're ready for it, which, are we ready for it now? Or is it? So, no, but a concept.
No, yeah, Gary. I mean, we are ready for it, but we, as a society, no, because I mean, we can tell when we're talking to these people out in the streets and stuff. Like it's, or you just
to never be ready.
But the thing is, that's what I was trying to say, the difference of, you used to look up there and think everything was millions of miles away, including and all that, and now you know it isn't. And like you know, like Dee thought, oh, I'm in a galaxy, and that's how they've made you think. You're in a galaxy, and there's galaxies, and there's millions of miles and light years and thousands of miles an hour, and look what we're in. And it's just like, you saw it like that, and now you don't, and you can't, because it isn't.
Well, I think the one big thing is that when you go from the atmosphere to the vacuum, I know we discussed this before, but there's going to be a moment where you're away from the vacuum, or you're an inch away into the atmosphere. It can't be. It just can't exist, because what is stopping the vacuum sucking out the atmosphere? So it's just crap. Yeah. It just can't be. It just can't. It's you can just tell. You just know in your heart and your gut that it just can't be.
Well, yeah, you've got the opposite argument to that as well. At what point does the gravity stop the vacuum from sucking everything away? So,
yeah. Well, that's the only thing they would probably argue, wouldn't it? That the gravity is keeping the atmosphere, is keeping it in place. But that means, I understand the atmosphere would be getting thinner and thinner and thinner. But at what point is that transition period, in that transition zone? And it's just.
Yeah, and the thing is about that, it's just crap.
And everything will be compressed.
Well, this is.
And they never show you, do they? They never show you the bit from going from here to there.
Well, and right now we're talking about Newtonian gravity, which is not what science says is the true gravity, because it's only Newtonian gravity that holds the atmosphere in place by law of attraction.
Yeah.
Einsteinian gravity is completely different.
It's depending.
It's something that's always falling and missing the object that is it's falling towards because of in space time basically. So how does that keep the atmosphere on the sphere?
Yeah.
Yeah, because surely the planet should be falling into the atmosphere, and the atmosphere should be falling around the planet, and vice versa. And this is what I mean. So we need to get that point across to globeheads. I think that we need to stop talking about this atmosphere as if we're talking about Newtonian gravity.
Yeah, and they do that experiment where they put like a blanket and some balls, you know, and they make them spin.
Yeah.
But the end, all end up together. It's like, that should happen, you know, they collide.
Daniel, can you send me the link for the Morgile one, and I'll have it playing in the background?
I already sent it.
Could you send it on the messenger again, on here, so I can just click it?
Oh my God, Karen.
Oh, sorry, Daniel.
While you're going through that, one thing I want to add is that, you know, the space programs around the world, and also they are sending out rockets. they're going up. They're clearly not going through in space, because we all agree on that. But I think they are actually doing it for a reason, and I've got no idea. And is it a question of something to do with what's outside of the Antarctica, and they're almost trying to, I don't know, it's like, why would they go for that facade of trying to make out they're in space? They're trying to do that for a reason, and they're spending money on it and time. Got to be, for me, I think, it's the question.
What they've done, Gary, what they've done is they've told you that everything is so big and magnificent out there, and the only thing that was happening is here. And like, you're a nothing, and the sun is really big. When it's the Earth that's really big, I know we need the sun, but the sun is much smaller, and we're the big thing. Do you see what I mean? Everything. They don't want us to find the truth. That's what it is. This reset, whatever's happened to us, what the Bible is, what our Creator is. They don't want us to understand it. Thank you.
No, I understand that, what you're saying, but it's just a question of why all these space dignitaries. I basically think that what they are, they're explorers. They're not explorers of space, which they're trying to make out. They're explorers of this land. We're talking about, or I'm talking about, isn't the land that you and I know. Because I was watching a video the other day, and they were talking about districts, and we're like a district, like District 9, the film. So other lands, like almost like puddles, I think some people call it. And I just wonder, is the only thing that I think could ever happen where NASA and all the governments around the world would be able to get away with for years, is that they were protecting us legitimately, not just saying the words, but legitimately from an outside threat of cultures outside of our. And basically, I have this gut feeling that they're basically the equivalent of the aliens that we talk about, where aliens has always been described as being from space. I personally think they're coming from the other lands, and I think the reason why they spend so much money on the space rockets and everything else, it isn't a space rocket, it's a military rocket going into another land or maybe dimension. Now that's a little bit too heavy, that last bit. That everything I've ever come across has led me to this point.
Yeah, and that's how they're gonna fake missions. You know, they're gonna go up and maybe go to the dark side where there's no moon or sun, and you're gonna think you're gonna be in space, and they're gonna land in another place, and you're gonna say, "Oh my God, I went to Mars."
Well, this is the thing. Well, it's not that. I mean, it's like with pre-programming and stuff. I mean, when Gary was speaking, then he made me think of Stargate, and you've got this military operation that, all right, they're going to different planets, but they're there and they genuinely think the world can't handle the truth that there being aliens out there and everything. So they're trying to protect the planet from the truth as well as from the alien threat that's against us. So
Get there.
I'm on board there.
Of course, to Mars. Yeah.
But in that case, I want to go to Mars too.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying like Stargate is in we are going to other planets. I'm saying that maybe the pyramid transportation thing maybe that was brought up in earlier hangouts is not taking us to different places on this realm that we see, but on these other puddles as Gary just mentioned.
Yeah.
More about holodecks on the Enterprise.
Oh, not one of them.
Yeah, I think Judith's trying to get in at the moment. Sorry, if anybody can add her.
I can't. My phone's uploading its software, so I can't. I've already sent her the message. I already sent it through Messenger, so she's already got the link. Can someone else send it to her then? Again. I thought Ceres had sent me the Morgile video, but it wasn't. It was Flat Earth Realm, so that's playing. But Daniel, if you find it, will you tell me when you're going to put the... Oh, wait a minute.
I sent it to you in Messenger.
I know, but I can't get on there. I need it to go on the Hangout. I want it on the Hangout. I can't get to it on Messenger. My phone is updating right now.
Oh, I put it. I'm gonna put it in the background, and you have to put my screen. You have to click on my name.
I just want to add one final point on my points that I've been making. Is if you go back to the 1960s when they said they were going to go to the moon, if they knew then that they couldn't get up there, is why are they doing this elaborate hoax? That one, it looks bad, and two, why don't they just say that we'd love to get to the stars, but we haven't got the technology yet? And they could have carried on pushing that same mantra that they haven't got the technology to get there, but they're working on it. Why though? Everyone have been just seeing, they could obviously said that Hubble went up there and they can say what's what. And there's certain things that are missing. There's almost like a jigsaw puzzle where there's some pieces missing, and you got three pieces, but the bit in the middle isn't there, and it's like the first bit doesn't make sense, and the third bit doesn't make sense because you've got the connecting piece. And I don't understand why the space program's so large. There's no space. So what are they doing? They're doing something. And it's not this deception just to hide money, because they can print money. That's not the thing. It can't be to do with money. Thing going on.
That particular video I sent through the Hangout, that's my answer to that.
Yeah, serious. I was kind of playing it, but we were doing the TheMorgile one. So, where's it gone, Daniel?
Yeah, no. For me,
we were watching it, and now I had it, and now it's gone. Sorry, D. 1 second, D.
The Flat Earth Realm video.
Yeah, I've got that one, but Daniel was sent me. We were watching the TheMorgile one.
Yeah.
This is the video. Are you watching it or not?
No, but it's just you. No, it's you we see. You have
to see the video.
No, you have to screen share.
The screen share should stop somehow. It does happen when people are joining or leaving. Yeah, no, it's on again.
You see it now?
Yeah, brilliant. Carry on, D. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, yeah, for me, the deception, yeah, it's not about the money and what you said earlier about them maybe hiding other stuff. I mean, maybe they are putting out such shoddy stuff so that when we do see what they're doing, we're thinking, well, they're faking going to space and they're faking doing this, and it throws us off the idea of, like you say, that there are these other lands that they're actually exploring with this technology, and it's focused on space. Just a theory.
Well, look what they've got us believing, though. They've got us believing we've been to space.
Yeah, we got that.
So far, I figure it's not the humans actually behind this. They're just puppets and sabotaged to the bone in that sense to help the fallen angels to practically carry out the whole biblical prophecy of what the fallen angels will do.
Yeah, but again, these fallen angels could be beings from another pond that were written down as fallen angels in this ancient script because we didn't understand what they were.
Yeah.
I don't know about scripture, but that what actually wrote anything in there knew a lot more than we realize now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not trying to say wrong. Like I'm just popping out these. What's it? Playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. So far, I think they just mixed up a bit here and there. That it may be broken and etc. etc. That's why they actually encoded the whole thing in there. It's just for only for the true Israelites in that sense, that they are the ones actually having the Holy Spirit with them and have read what they're actually standing. And from those, I get more than any corner in the world in that sense. Especially the whole confronting parts, you know. Things are never actually focused on in the past, and then same as Ecclesiastic 12:13. It's now a memory part in that sense. Fear God, His commandments, for that is the whole duty of man.
Yeah.
Can I just say something while you're just waiting on whatever you're waiting on? Which would you say was the biggest landmass, America or Russia?
Russia.
Yeah.
Especially Russia.
I was going to say, isn't Russia connected to Europe and everything anyway? So it's kind of the same landmass. I know that there's a fault line, obviously, between continents, but
No, because I was just thinking, you know how there's a war, sort of like a war between America and Russia, and I think is America think they're better. I don't mean the people, I mean the government. And their idea is we're going to go to space. We're going to prove to everyone that we're the better landmass, whatever you want to call it. And the Russians are always a country that, well, they just put down. There's always got to be someone that's put down to make the others look better, like a bully does. It makes other people down, but it makes them feel good. And I think it's not about, well, it is a bit about money, because of the showing that the moon stuff isn't expensive when you look at it. And they're paying for something else with that money. Siphoning it off for something else. And, well, that's just about what I think, really. That they just want to make themselves look big.
yeah, no, I can agree with that. It's what all superpowers do, if you know what I mean, the people on top. I mean, it's like we did it when we were on top, and the Romans did it when they were on top, the Greeks did it when they were on top, kind of thing. You project your authority to keep the masses down, don't you? And you make the masses think that they're part of the greater good, so that they go along with the terrible atrocities you commit. Sorry.
No, that's what a bully does, and it makes and the thing with how religions are persecuted. You know, it was the Jews, and it was the Christians, and it was, you know, Samaritans or whatever. There's always somebody that has to be persecuted.
The divide and conquer part, that we will fight among each other instead of actually fight them. And serve them, actually.
Like you were saying, series, it's about we don't realise that we've got the power to do these things. Just don't know how to do it. Once you realise you have the power, we don't know, because everybody, and that's what the governments and that play on, is the fact that we're not united enough to actually go against them. The other side is we're scared that we're going to have to go live in tree houses and stuff. We can do it in our own home now. We don't have to go into a forest and, you know, do all this. We could start a community here and now. Get our neighbours together. Get the fruit, grow the fruit, the veg, everything, and just come together. And if everybody did it in smaller groups to build a bigger group, we could still live where we live.
Well, some people do that, don't they, Patricia? But that's the bit they've taken away, because 50, 60 years ago, people had their allotments and, you know, like community things, and it was probably more like that. But in the last sort of 20, 30 years, everything has gone. But until we realise it's not the governments that make our communities, it's us. We're always going to be stuck with the government making the communities, and they don't want one. Sorry, carry on.
No, because they tell us to fear our neighbours, to fear everybody. I mean, look at the London attacks and the Manchester and all that. We get to the point where, not me, but you sort of think, well, if I go to this arena, are we gonna get bombed, or somebody with a fake bomb gonna blow us up? And to a point, it stops you doing things.
It's not just that. They want to change the law, so they do all these things so they can change the law.
Well, yeah. They're wanting the police out there, the military and stuff, to to be outside every major building to get us used to it. I think at some places, you know, we'll have to go through checkpoints and things like that, but because it's our
martial law
safety, for our safety only.
But
You know, it's
cities and not on the land.
Tricia, I want to give you a curveball on what you said. Basically, I'm an advocate that both Russia and America are a lot closer than we have always been led to believe. Too, when they've all realised there was no such thing as space, then I think there was a trade-off with America and Russia saying, I tell you what, in the space first, and you get the kudos for that, and then we'll go onto the moon. Because let's face it, the Russians probably were quite happy not to fake crap on the moon because they didn't want to put their name to that. So I personally think that we've been led down the path that they've been enemies in the Cold War and everything else. And basically, when somebody say, "Well, with American lied going to the moon, Russians and other people would have actually have seen it." Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but when they allegedly from the moon in 1969, it was meant to be going to a hub in Australia. But what they were seeing and what was put out on TV was totally different. And the Australian, the TV people were, well, we don't understand this. This is meant to be live, but it's not coming through our system. So basically, we have been fed a lie, including Russia and America, and what's happened. Because if you think about it, in one subject, we're saying there is no such thing as space. The next minute, we're saying, oh, but is it then that the Americans wanted to be bigger than them and they wanted to be the first? Well, hold on a minute, that completely conflicts with the fact that we're saying that we didn't go to the moon, didn't even go into space. So I personally would have to comment that I think that we've been sold one big mother of a lie, because it allows them to have these all trade-offs. This thing about what Karen said about Manchester, all that is this thing about the stabbings in London yesterday. It's literally just to allow them to walk around, like somebody said earlier about martial law, it's to allow them walking around how they want to, and everyone's going to say, oh yeah, aren't you wonderful? In fed bullshit.
Agree with that. I mean, the thing is, we don't know what's going on. You see, meeting up with different with other country leaders like the Arabs and things like that. And then next minute they're slagging each other off to us, but they're giving us two sides of this. They're giving us two things, and we've got to choose which one we believe. And
I know, it's really crazy, Patricia. Like the day before 9/11, they got all of Bin Laden's, or they got all these families out. So they took their families out, and the next day they announced it was them that caused it. So what goes on there when they're actually taking their family out a day before this disaster? So they knew what was going to happen. Why take their families out? They fly them off.
That was to make us believe that we're a world of we tolerate people, and that because you don't know what's going on in people's minds. They might do one thing and say another and think another. We are complex in our thoughts and everything,
But you know what 9/11 did as well? It didn't just cause what they made us watch on the television. It changed the law, and America got the Patriot Act, and we got one similar, which meant that any government could go and invade another country and not go to prison for it and not have war crimes against them. So they changed the law for themselves and took more of your rights away.
So we need to get rid of that then. We need to get rid of the Patriot Act then. That's how we would do that. I don't know. My mind just swirls with everything. But
the thing is, they cause a big disaster, and then they tell you that they're going to sort it out, and then they change the law, and before you know it, you've got what they want anyway.
Well, yeah, because they want the law to come in, but they have to go through a process of us making us believe that we actually need that solution, isn't it?
Yeah.
They create a problem, we get reaction, oh no, we can't have that, these people are bad people, we'll go to war with...
Do you know what I find really alarming right now? The one when we saw, everybody thought, first of all, that guy running through the door into that shopping mall going, Allah, 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 was actually what happened in Birmingham, Manchester. but it wasn't. That was a drill they did a few weeks before. But don't you find it's really alarming that the terrorist was a Muslim going Allah, Allah, Allah? What are they telling everyone? That the only terrorists are now Muslim. I think it's horrible. They're putting that in people's psyche.
It's a religious attack, isn't it? It's not about a person. It has to be a religion that's persecuted. Fall for that. You're worse than the people that are actually trying to do it in the first place, because we know that there is people that will go around and kill people. But I think it's more to do with society and how they treat.
Well, Patricia, I find it really alarming. I don't know about what it's like for Daniel or Ceres. The rest of us are English. We live in a multicultural country where there are a lot of Muslim people living here. So imagine how they feel when they're the actual being told. Imagine living in another country and all they're saying is the English are the terrorists. Would you want to live there if they think you're a terrorist? You know, what are they doing? We're a multicultural country, aren't we? Wilson.
Yeah, and that we know. I have a few Muslim friends, and Mormon friends. I have Christian friends. I used to have Jehovah's Witness friends. Do you know what I mean? And they're all beautiful people in their own right that are telling us to hate these people. I don't hate them. I don't hate anybody, and it's just how we talk, isn't it? We just meant to believe.
In fact, are telling us anything to do or to want or to have, as if we are always the children who have to listen to this. The out of self-control, out of authority, out of even living your own life. All dependency on every system, because chaos.
One second, Wilson, can you hear us?
So how do we get out of it?
Well, as Jesus said, be as smart as a snake and as wise as a dove. Or be as smart enough to not be a slave to control, and be wise enough to not be in chaos, and actually take your responsibility in that thing, particularly bridge between the water and the fire towards the actual freedom.
That's all well and good, but in them times, whenever them times were, they didn't have such laws as what we've got. They maybe had one or two, or I don't know. The laws were different, and the law, it's getting away from the authority that we need to do, and we just don't know how to do it properly because there's so much conflicting advice. Take your name off the electoral roll, and take your name away from society. You're not allowed to travel. Well,
stop.
Like abroad and stuff.
You don't know, because you do know. And it's all about listening to yourself, to your intuition, to your higher spirit. Visions and thoughts, the actual whisper beneath that. What is that actual you?
Your intuition.
Don't think anything outside.
So I said your intuition, your sixth sense, your magnetical sixth sense. It's magnetical. I put a video out about that on my YouTube channel. It's a magnetical sixth sense we have. But we have a sixth sense, and that's our intuition. And a lot of us don't use it.
Oh, so mine was, when I was younger, you know how you say you have dreams and stuff? I always could fly.
Yes!
I could see everything. I could see everything. I know I was escaping from stuff that was going on in my childhood, but I could fly above it. I could fly above everything. And just life brings you down. Bombardment of education and telling us what to think, what to feel. We're not allowed to do this, we're not allowed to do that. And you just think,
Once you think you're
I
out,
don't want it anymore.
pull you back in.
Good girl, Patricia.
Yeah.
But you know
A
what?
round
Just
of applause to her.
oh, but Patricia, you know what? When you first came to the group, right? You probably were like, she'd only just joined the group, and I'm going, "Are you coming on a hangout?" I think she went, "What?" But in the time you've sort of come into our group, you don't realise how much confidence you've gained, and that's probably because you're listened to. People listen to what you're saying, talk to you, and you're also researching and knowing your own stuff. So, do you see what I mean? Then you've come out with what you just said.
I think I've always had it. It's just that that I hold back because I never thought anything I had to say was worthwhile. That nobody wanted to listen, and I'm going to get upset now. But for that opportunity, that you know, that my kids don't listen to me. You know, my friends I mentioned about flat Earth and conspiracies and things like that, and they just look at me as if to say, "Oh God, she's nuts."
Yeah, same as.
I just look so.
But it's always their projection of what they think you are.
Yeah. Go, Patricia. Go. Go, Patricia.
All right. See you later.
No, not that go. Look, she's even making jokes now. So can I just check, Wilson, are you there? Wilson.
Wilson.
Damn, he's got a problem. He's probably not there.
Release a record, mate. That would sell in the millions.
What's that? What's that?
He's singing.
And but Gary, do you see what I mean? We have diversed the whole evening. Poor Daniel, he came on wanting us to discuss his video, which was playing, and even the video got stuck, and he's put Series' one up now. It is hard to digress, isn't it? Because it's a bit like you look on the TheMorgile thing. You're looking at a few diagrams and things, and he's talking, but there still just isn't enough. There's no research in what he's talking about. I know that we know these things or understand these things a bit better, but there's no proper research. There's nowhere to go, is there? You've just got his video, and he's had to amend it because it's so deep. Everything's so deep.
And the purpose for this hangout as well was to decide as a group how we want to continue. You know, it was like it was a test. You know, let's make this group and let's see what do we want. You know, and that I think we need to talk about right now is how do we want to continue this group and how are we going to decide which is the next video. You know, I think it's an interesting format. We can focus in one video. But I'm open to other ideas as well, you know. So yeah, this was a test. TheMorgile put a video that kind of was important, and yeah, I think we don't have to talk a lot about it if we don't have more to say. You know, it's not necessary in that sense. We can agree and then go maybe to the next video, and that in that sense the video club is people who are interested in flat Earth videos and coming here sharing and talking about the different things. You know, I think it's impossible we stay focused all the time in just one topic again because all topics are related. So of course all other topics are gonna come in. So yeah, what do you guys think about? How do we continue, you know, like, what's your idea?
I said, everybody else can talk in a second. I said mine, didn't I? I said that maybe next time, for the next video group, we could just go through Series' presentation. Because obviously, we are in this research group and maybe people don't understand it. But that's my thoughts. everyone else now. Go through. I see D. It goes D, Gary, Frankie, series, Patricia, if Wilson's there. So D. Sorry, Daniel. D.
Oh. Wilson is right.
D.
Sorry, yeah, I just got back from taking a load of video, and I've just set off a time lapse, so I kind of missed most of that.
Oh.
So if you move on to the person next to me, from their answer, I'll gather what the question was.
Okay, Gary. Gary, go next then.
Okay, to answer the question, I believe that what we need to do is we need to not necessarily do a whole video, because in this, do the research on the video, but on the actual hangout itself, I think what we need to have is in the background a salient point. For instance, the person who's actually choosing the video will say something like, I would like to look at the 6th to the 7th minute, or from the 8 minutes up to 12 minutes, or whatever. And then what we can do is watch that together, and then we can chat about the different points that have been brought up in it. Because some things that we're going to agree with, some things we're not, or we're going to think, oh my God, this is a fantastic video because of this reason. We need to put this out to people because of. So I think to actually watching a video on our own and then just have a chit chat, it's great on some videos, maybe not so on others. I think with the Morgiles one, I think that's, to be fair, I think it's probably a very hard one to start the ball rolling with because it's such a deep video. So I personally think that what we need to do is do like a segment of a video, watch the whole video by all means, but the person who chooses the video may think, right, I like the 8th minute. Also, there's another point on the 33rd minute for about 3 minutes that I really like. Could we focus on those two? So you then, Karen, put those two bits on, and we do in one segment and then do the second segment.
Well, maybe until we've got more into this, maybe the videos that get picked in the future aren't particularly long ones. You know, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and then they can be played as we're talking, because it will get people like, oh yeah, that part of that video, I wanted to ask that question about that, or something like that. If it's playing while we're actually on the hangout. So that's.
Has anyone else got any thoughts about what I've said?
I think what Gary said.
Yeah, definitely. Again, a bit more structured. But like you said, this one is a hard one to start off on. One, because he do an extension to the video, which obviously has thrown a lot of people off. And also, like I say, he was very backwards, forwards, repeating, and he didn't really make his point. So you have to find his point. So yeah, again, like I said, maybe next time we do this, there's a bit more of a agenda, if you can put up with that word anyway.
Just add that if we're watching a video that, for instance, on a bit on that video that like goes on for a couple of minutes, that is really salient, we can't be then talking through the video that's talking. So I think we would have to then literally just watch the video.
Yeah, like it's doing now.
Yeah. So what? Sorry, Karen, I cut you off there.
No, sorry, I was just saying, like the video's playing now. There's a video playing on Daniel's screen, and so
yeah, I've got that up.
We can have it in the background. If we watched it, then we know roughly what it's about, so we can stop at points.
Yeah, and I think if the hangout is like literally for the first 20 minutes, it's actually centered on that video, and then we will know when it has kicked it into touch and it's enough, and then we can just have a chit chat, or if that video deserves a bit more in-depth discussion because it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes a movable feast. In effect, we'll learn how to make this work for us, won't we, going forward?
Well, yeah, I think this is what this was all about as well. This was about us a practice run for Daniel more than anything, isn't it? So he can get his format sorted. So.
Daniel, we've got a little bit of feedback, I think, from you again.
Really?
You're okay. That's it. It's not there now. What do you think, Patricia?
Patricia's. It's muted. Oh, wait.
Patricia!
So how we decide the next video? We make a poll?
Yeah, we could do. We could submit ideas to the group page on Facebook.
I
Yeah,
actually
I don't like
actually
the
thought it was a
poll,
good
but
idea if we did series one next, because we're a research group and that's our research. But after that, yeah, do exactly what you say. But I just wondered, because a lot of people don't understand what series is doing, and we're in the research group with his information going out. So if our group don't understand some of it, then maybe it's best to do series next, and then after that, what Gary, Dee, Frankie, that's good.
Okay, we're gonna
yeah, cause I've got to say, because
we're gonna do a special edition for series one, but let's create a way to continue in the sense how we're gonna decide the next videos. You know, let's put series video aside. Let's make a special, the best chapter of this group ever. It's gonna be series premium. You know, premium view of his model, and we're gonna take the time. We're gonna try everybody make our best effort to understand everything, so we can make it. But aside from that, I think we need to make a poll and what videos do even we decide from. You know, that's the other thing. It's like there's so much content, so I think my idea is like each researcher, each participant of the group has can propose one video to the poll, and the poll goes up with the proposal of who wants it, and then we decide which video we wanna treat through a poll. I don't know, what do you think?
Maybe Daniel, because you pick this video, you pick a few videos and put them up, and then there's a poll on those.
yeah, because you can always add suggestions to a poll anyway, can't you? So if you kick off a poll with a few of your own ideas, Daniel, and then I'm sure other people add theirs, and we can get something going from there. Yeah, I think that's a good way of doing it.
That sounds great. Perfect.
And can I just reiterate what Karen said about the duration? Because I've often thought that really anything we actually choose, ideally, either 30 minutes or less, or it has to be an hour's video or 2-hour video. You try to, when you put it on, you try to say that the bit I really want to discuss is, for instance, the half an hour up to the hour mark or whatever, because we've got to make sure that the people that are focusing on that video, you've got to bear in mind that this is on top of all the other things we're doing. So it's just making sure that we give it the time that it deserves. Ideally, you watch the whole video, but make sure we definitely really want to discuss. I don't know if that, you know, it's sort of
Yeah.
Would be happy to offer my services in the future when I get a decent video editor to edit these videos out, write them down if you wanted. So I mean, I wouldn't do it for normal hangouts and stuff, but certainly for these more, what's the word, more, oh, I can't even think of the word, you know, when we're specifically working on a set subject. Yeah. Then cut out the stuff that's not needed, like me now, if you know what I mean. So yeah, and
yeah, but we're part of a community, aren't we, Dee?
So people can.
Well, this is us being a community.
That way people. Well, yeah, no, this is what I mean. But we've got the other hangouts for that. We don't need. This isn't a part of this. This isn't being in the community, if you know what I mean. But people will want to hear it. But like Gary says, sometimes 2-3 hours is a bit too long. So if we can put the 2-3 hour one out, and then also have a condensed one that's got just the bullet point parts of the discussion as well, so that people are more likely to watch that. Like I say, if we can get it down to half an hour, 45 minutes, more digestible chunk kind of thing. People have got 2-3 hours, they can sit and watch it. Or if they just want to catch up, like the news flash or the news bulletin like part, then
it would be a bit more long-winded if we did it this way. You know, there's loads of subjects. You could pick the sun, the moon, you could pick space, you could pick the earth, you could pick, I don't know, so many different topics that you could pick as a topic to go to, but then you'd have to do a poll for the topic and then a poll for the video. So I think it's probably best to stick to the videos for now.
That's all we're talking about.
Yeah, but I'm saying, no, what I'm saying is you could do a poll to say what topic.
We've got to be careful we don't make this too complicated, because we'd end up having a poll about should we have a poll.
Yeah.
It's like they
Should we have?
You mentioned the poll, Gary. You mentioned that you're the one that mentioned the poll.
Yeah, but you've brought in other things on top of that again, Karen. This is what I mean. You've taken an idea and you've added loads to it.
Mind you, it was actually Daniel who said about the poll. It wasn't me.
Oh, okay. But also, it was to discuss which way you wanted to go. So just keep it simple. Just put links out. You know, videos that you want to watch.
Could I just add one thing before, and I'm mute. Basically, why don't we do it this way? Somebody choose a video, that video goes on, and then we'll be talking about the video, and then what will happen is after 2 or 3 people put on videos, all of a sudden it'll grow a life of its own, and we'll start to realise, the only way this is really going to work is 2, we have to have already watched it, 3, we've got to do a poll or not do a poll. So what will happen is at this moment we don't have to worry about how we do it. All we've got to do is do something, and eventually it will all come out in the wash on how to do it. And fix at this moment.
Yeah.
I'm of the opposite opinion now. I've got to say, if you start sloppy, you end sloppy. So yeah, for me, if you don't start with a plan, you won't end.
Yes, but we're not perfect people, are we? We're just having
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not. I just wanted to throw my. I'm not saying that we should do it my way. I'm just
Like that's something I made it this when I first joined the group. I thought I'm never going to discuss these specs like, and you just start sloppy and you end sloppy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, at this moment we don't know the best way forward. So what I'm basically saying is, what will happen is it will evolve into.
Yeah.
Karen, the other day, that I've noticed that on the Hangouts, that Karen is the style that Karen uses now. I prefer a hell of a lot more than in the early days. I found it a little bit. That may be partly down to the fact that I wasn't used to the Hangouts, maybe. But I just think that what will happen is within 2 or 3 videos, it will evolve into really work, and the other one the following week didn't work. Okay, we're starting to learn now what works. So I'm not on about going into completely half-cocked. I'm about just it will evolve into a workable beast. Yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Like I say, yeah.
Thank you,
Don't
Gary.
get me wrong, it's not like I completely disagree with you. I was just throwing in my my 2 cents of worth.
But can you just make sure you keep on doing it beyond platforms, mate? Because we don't want that on video. I don't want that to be the next video that we're looking at.
Yeah,
Gary!
okay. I'll try and make sure the camera's pointing away.
Karen's now thinking, what?
Anyway, we're not stupid people, are we? None of us, and we already like talking to each other anyway. We do that quite often now. So yeah, is that what you wanted to hear, Daniel?
Yeah, that's great feedback. Yeah, and anyone that wants to be more committed or more in you just can come in. Like we're open at this time in that sense. We're as Gary said it, we're making it in the now. This was our first dip in the pool, so yeah, it's already happening. I think that's great. We're already here, united, talking, and it's happening. We talked about this idea the past week, and we're already doing it. So I think it's great. It's a good start. Of course, we didn't know about how to do it and all the details, but those are details, we're gonna figure it out, I'm sure. So yeah, I'm gonna resume a little bit what I gather from the different opinions, so we can make a little conclusion in the sense of the group. I'm gonna choose a couple of videos which I believe are in the actuality of the controversy of flat Earth and all the topics related. And I'm gonna start the poll, and anybody else who wants to aggregate any video is free to do it. And then in the chat of that poll, I think, as Gary said, we're gonna start to talk about the videos and sift, and we're gonna come ask maybe as a group in the comments, a conclusion to which video is the more relevant to discuss. So it's gonna be something organic that's gonna happen more than pre-decided or pre-thought, because it's so deep and everybody has different aspects. So that's what I recall from the feedback I received. And then we can do this weekly hangout. I think once a week is okay. We don't want to add a lot of time of things, because we're already using a lot of time to research and things. So yeah, I think we have a nice start. You know, that's where anybody want to add something?
That sounds good to me. Or... Thank you, Daniel. That sounds good to me. And anyway, we've heard what people have said, so, and you're happy with that. Is Patricia there? Patricia, are you there? Maybe her son's come back. Are you there?
Oh, you go, Patricia.
What was the question?
Patricia! Basically, it was like Daniel put out the format of like, what we want this book club to be about, and how he was going to sort of promote it for the next one. So basically, he's going to do a poll. He was just checking with the group that they were happy with that.
I've just added Daniel as a friend, so that I can see what he posts on the group rather than having to flick through.
Right. Okay. Yeah. He's gonna put this as a poll, as a poll on the group. So, you'll be able to see it anyway.
You send me a request. What's your name?
Trisha Amherst.
It's Anne's. We have middle name series. Mine's Michelle, Karen Michelle. You laughing at my name?
Good.
What are you, Dee?
Yeah, Michelle.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I did say that, didn't I? Your friend. Do you have a second name series?
I've got another name as well, but it's a confirmation name. Don't know who picked that.
Margaret.
What's that then?
Like the creator of the name change.
Just asking then, does Daniel and Series have second names, or is this just something that happens here more?
I have three names. Daniel Alfredo Florencio. Daniel Alfred Florence. Yeah. Family thing, because I am the only boy from all my family tree. So my family comes when the first Spaniards came to Santiago. There were a group of 300 Spaniards, and only 45 survived because they were trapped in the Bolivian winter that is actually in summer. And most of them died, only 40 survived. They got to Santiago and they founded the city of Santiago. That's my direct relative. So yeah, they put me three names, and I have to have boy sons, but I only have a daughter. I'm not seeking for another kid.
Huh. So it all rests on you, Daniel. It all rests on you.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's a good job you didn't get all the other 40 names. That would have been a mouthful.
Cool, yeah. Series, do you have a second name?
Yeah, thank God.
Let's have both names, I guess, and they hated so much that they gave all their children just one name. And it's just serious. I have a few nicknames built up through the whole internet stuff, but yeah, that's just one hippie as the main one. In Dutch, I have used, and Demeter is used for Facebook, as they want the real name, so it's a fake name. It's also me because it's the same. That's it's still serious.
Yeah.
Weak version instead of the wrong version.
Choose your monarchy. That's the game. Choose your monarchy. I represent the Templars. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of the fertility and agriculture behind it. And I was born on a farm, goat milk farm, goat cheese farm.
So you live in those classical Netherlands postals we see of beautiful little rivers and these windmills. And
Yeah, he's got a pair of clogs, haven't you, Series? Do you have a pair of clogs?
Not really, but just animals and farm and flat surrounding. It's all flat there.
Series, do you have a pair of clogs?
No.
Clogs are the shoes. Just if you didn't know what they were.
More importantly, though, can you yodel?
Oh, dearie me. I haven't heard Series yodeladely. Can I just say we've been recording now for 2.5 hours. Do you think that's enough for the book for the video club, and then we can just chat with each other afterwards?
Yeah.
So basically, we will be back. One thing we haven't discussed is the date. Like how many? What are you going to do this, Dan? Once a fortnight, once a month?
Once a week, I think.
You want to do it once a week?
The
Cool.
same day.
What does everybody? Well, what do you think about that, Dee? Gary, Frankie, Patricia.
Yeah, I mean, not every week, I'm sure, but yeah, I'm sure, like I say, the people who watch the videos will. So yeah, it'll be like Gary says, and if evolution may be of a process.
Frankie.
Week's fine by me.
What evolution?
Gary.
Yeah, I think to start off with, do once a week. It'll soon work, or it won't work. The only thing I want to add about the poll thing is, and I'm sorry to put a spanner in the works, but if you have, for instance, I don't know, say for instance, I put up a video and Dee puts up a video, the only way you're going to know which one to vote for if you haven't seen them is you're going to have to watch them all. And then what will happen is that you choose on Daniel's video and then resubmit my video that I really like the next week. And so at this moment, I'm just trying to get my head around how that would work. I'm quite happy to go with the flow and see what happens.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
I know how you could do it.
What you're voting on.
I know how you could do it. Just what I said. So Daniel chooses the subject, say the sun. So the videos that go out are on the sun. So he goes the sun and his videos, and then everybody picks a sun video. Do you see what I mean? And the next week, maybe it's the moon. He picks a few moon videos and sticks them out. You could do it that way. Then at least you've got the subject.
But that means that you only go by one. Yeah. I don't, nothing against Daniel, sorry about this, but I don't really feel that's going to work. But
Yeah.
First, based on what subject?
That's what I mean. Pick a subject.
Maybe we've got a few video ideas around now. If anyone's got any, I haven't. But if anyone else has a video idea for next time, after the presentation one, maybe.
Personally, I can just say that I think that what should happen is Daniel chose a video. I think because of this particular one was a very deep subject, and then what he should do is do another one, and then after that it's up to choose a video. And after 2 or 3 weeks of it happening, it'll soon work out, oh, that is really working, or it's not. Do the poll idea, no disrespect, Daniel, I just think it's, if we've all seen those videos, it's almost like a book club where we've all read the Harry Potter books, and one of us wants to choose one of those books of the 8. And we think, right, let's pick it up, 7, let's pick it up. The problem is we haven't necessarily seen those videos, so we'd have to watch them all. And then my one on the poll, and you're putting yours on the poll, and Dee's doing his. Is to watch. And you got to find time for the hangout.
Just made it all complicated again.
Yeah, it's easy enough for us lazy stop and beds who don't work and have got like 24 hours a day to do this, but yeah, there are people with real lives, unfortunately. So
I'm just trying to foresee how to make that. It looks like it could possibly work. That's all. And I'm not trying to be,
But how is that going to work if
to.
the numbers go up and
It's
down and different people turn up each week? And what happens, say, if Wilson and Alan get on because they had computer problems? What happens if they're there next week? Then they didn't choose a video and stuff like. I don't know.
They'll get to choose eventually. This is the thing. I mean, it's hopefully something that's going to continue long into the future. So, you just have to be patient.
It may be that Daniel it may be 10 weeks before he gets to choose a video again, because in that time, 9 people have come along and chosen a video, and then it repeats itself, and all of a sudden 2 more people who join the group who also join the video club, and now it becomes 12 weeks. But see how you can have one person choosing every week what that one's going to be, because I don't know, I just don't.
But a poll is it? A poll is about everybody putting their ideas on that one, and then the one that's the most popular that's that way, isn't it? So what are we going to do then?
What do you think, series?
Yeah, it's the one by one. I guess that's the best way that everybody gets actually a chance to choose the video for the subject of things where they are actually working with at that moment.
Yeah, it's you next, series. You're next.
I think what we should do is either do Daniel next, because that video was probably the hard one to choose, but do Daniel next or series next, and if the opposite person does the next week, then you choose Dee or Patricia or whoever, and then you trial it for 5 or 6 weeks. It will soon work or it won't.
Yeah, that sounds good. A week for each one. So who wants to go? We have special program for Siri. Okay, that's apart. Who wants to go? Who wants to be the next? You want to be you, Gary?
I'm also happy to be last. You know, I'm happy to wait my turn, but
okay,
I'll go with the flow.
Well, I tend to jump in a lot, so I'd like somebody who maybe doesn't get their opinion across.
All right, Frankie or Patricia chooses the next video. Frankie or Patricia?
Yeah, okay.
Down to the ladies.
I agree.
Or, yeah.
The less noisiest ones.
Who wants to pick a video? Frankie, do you want to go first then?
All right. I'll go first.
Oh, Patricia's just butted in as well there, look.
I'm saying, yay, somebody else has picked one first.
I don't mind, darling.
Pressure off Patricia there.
Okay then, we're sorted now. I'm going to end the hangout. Are we going to have a group hug? Because we've done a lot today again. I've just got to bring my camera back. 1 second, I'll get my camera back. Come back, camera. Oh, it takes so... Wait a minute, Daniel and Dee. I'm coming.
That's right, my arms can stay here forever, I'm sure.
Come on. That's it, I'm coming. Oh, my camera, come on. I'm just waiting for it to come. Come on. There you go. Yay! I've got to wait for my arms to come up now. Oh, my arms are up.
No.
I'm there. Anyway, thanks very much, everybody. Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll be back.